Greetings, everybody. How y'all doing? It's been a while. I'm sorry I haven't updated in a while. There's been a lot of things going on, but I don't want to disservice my lovely viewers. I did, in fact, see the recent Pixar movie Inside Out. As I've mentioned before, this is one of my most anticipated animated films, let alone films to come out this year. When I found out that Pixar was going to be doing a movie about the psychology of a girl, I was very excited. I myself am a strong advocate for mental health. So when I see an animated film attempt to talk about mental health and make it for a way that the general audience can relate to it, it makes me feel good. It makes me know that there are people that care and want to actually say something positive about a field that I don't think gets enough recognition. As far as this being the first Pixar movie to truly move people, let me just flat out say the last few years have not been that kind to Pixar. I don't even think they're going to have that good of a future from the looks of it. We've got all these sequels coming out. And I was not a fan of Cars 2, didn't really care much for Brave. Everything after Toy Story 3 seemed to just plateau right across. Not a fan. Not at all. But I am happy to say that Inside Out is a movie that I will probably be seeing again. I enjoyed it immensely. I don't think this movie moved me as much as most people who have seen it and have admitted to crying their eyes out. Like I hear about these people saying, I've seen Inside Out. Oh my God. I don't know. It never really got me to that point, but that doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It just means that I had a different experience from watching it. I honestly think the theater I was watching it was kind of obnoxious. I was not a fan of the people there were just crazy. And I mean, rowdy kids, teenagers who are watching things on their screen, obviously not watching the movie that they paid money to see, but I digress. As far as the movie goes, I think we all know the plot. I'll give you a brief summary. There are emotions in a girl's mind, named Riley, that are fighting over this control panel that are having an influence on the memory she creates. But something happens when joy and sadness get lost into long-term memory and have to find their way back to headquarters with the other emotions as things start to go awry. And our main character, Riley, she's going through this emotional turmoil of moving to a new home. And honestly, I think that's a very clever plot. To me, this movie has like a great setup. Within the first 5 minutes, you know everything you need to know. It gives you the conflict. It gives you the story you got to follow. And one of the things I really did enjoy about this movie, as far as on a storytelling level, is that it has a very great set of obstacles. I was watching this, and this adventure to me reminded me a lot of the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, where you've got this grand, exciting world, and these kids have to like go through this world, and you have sadness and joy going through all these different obstacles and things they keep encountering. It really puts them in peril. Now, after a while, I realized that these characters can't die. These are joy and sadness are things that are concepts that as humans we just can't get rid of. I mean, we lose track of our joyness, we lose track of our sadness sometimes, but we don't truly eliminate them. But watching this, I really did feel that there was a sense of urgency with these characters. And I really like that. Even if you know that a character's going to come out okay, at least you're still rooting for them and you still follow them. You gotta admire that. I really, and I think all the critics have said this. I love the imagination to this film, and when it comes to a topic like this, there's there are filmmakers that go about 90% of the way, 80% when it comes to a concept like this. I really feel like the filmmakers to this film, they went the whole 100% here. They took advantage of every opportunity they had because you're in a person's mind. It is a figment of imagination, and there's so much potential that can come out of it. And I don't want to spoil too much away, but there is a moment in the film, and while this moment didn't make me cry, it did move me a little. And I thought it was a very, very good moment that did have that Toy Story-esque feeling to it. So it's kind of cool to see Pixar do that, kind of go back to their roots. I mean, come to think about it, as original as this film is, there are a lot of things to it that are very classic Pixar. The two polar opposites that have to go together, a lot of adult humor. There's a lot of mature humor in this film. If anything, I think a lot of the jokes were made for the adults as opposed to the kids. Now, I do feel like this movie in particular does have a good understanding of the psychology of a development of a child growing up. And one of the things that I want to point out that a lot of critics and a lot of people online writing up about this movie tend to forget is that our character, and this isn't going to be really a spoiler, either a character or one of the characters in the film is experiencing depression, or what people would classify as major depression. However, as somebody who's familiar with major depression and hopes to make a career out of diagnosing people with mental health problems, I can clearly say that a character is not clinically depressed. When somebody is going through a transition of a turning point in their life, it's going to cause new emotions to be felt, feelings of ambivalence, feelings you have yet to experience before, a change in turning point that might seem like a disorder to some people, but is actually very normal. And that's one of the things I like about this film is that it mostly focuses on mental health as opposed to mental illness, which I think is the problem with our society is that when we think of mental health, we immediately think of disorders. We immediately think of diseases. Whereas we need to focus on the positive aspect of mental health. And I think this movie acknowledges a lot of that. And I think if more people are talking about this film, it can stir some good change. This is one of the things, this is one reason why I was anticipating this movie, is that I feel like a strong, this could be a strong project for people to acknowledge that mental health is very important and we need more mental health services. Nah, that's me getting off my soapbox, but I guess I just wanted to bring that up, and I kind of really love that this movie took the balls to go there. One thing too, and I'm probably gonna end the video right here. I'll just say the casting's really good. Louis Black as Anger, spot on casting. I mean, if I could imagine the personification of anger, it would be Louis Black. But those are my thoughts on Inside Out. I hope you enjoyed. I subscribe to my channel, all that fun stuff. I hope to be making more videos in the future. Otherwise, take care, everybody.